Okay, it's JR Eclipse time, baby. Oh, this is going to be so fucking stupid. All right, let's do it. America deserved Ben Shapiro. Okay, I don't even know where to begin. These are all so good. Questions Colin Kaepernick's motives.
Don't you think that at least some good has come out of him doing that, where it sort of raised awareness for police brutality? Just put it to the forefront. Let people understand that this is a problem.
No.
Not at all?
No, because I think that he made a serious error, which is that the most positive movements in American social history have been ones that don't kneel for the flag, but say, in the name of the flag, you should do X. Right? So Martin Luther King said, in the name of the flag, civil rights are necessary. Booker T. Washington said, in the name of the flag, civil rights are necessary. They didn't say the American flag stands for racism and Jim Crow. They said the American flag stands for something beyond that. Live up to the American flag.
But here's...
No, absolutely not. I guess it doesn't really matter, though, because it's Ben Shapiro time, baby. It's crazy. We're not even a minute in. MLK, very strong anti-imperialist activist who was regarded as a communist, an agitator, liar who was just stoking racial fears. Ben Shapiro acting like MLK would be on his side on any particular issue, or that he would be on MLK's side on any particular issue, is psychotic.
Why is it trashing the American flag to take a knee? Isn't that in some ways just another gesture of respect? Like, you're not doing what everybody wants you to do, which is put your hand over your heart, but you're doing something that's also respectful and silent. You're not standing up and going, fuck the American flag, fuck these people. You're actually taking it to another level of respect. You're taking a knee. You're bending the knee. Like, how is that so disrespectful? Like, how is that?
What?
It's a silent
okay,
gesture.
Joe.
It's not uniform. Like,
mild
it's not doing this
pushback.
thing that everybody else is doing. But you're doing something that's very respectful. You're taking a knee.
Well, that's certainly not the...
Not only was he taking a knee, Colin Kaepernick originally would sit down on purpose during the national anthem. And then only after talking to Green Beret veteran Nate Boyer, who originally criticized them, but then came to an understanding, developed an understanding of what Colin Kaepernick was talking about. Nate Boyer's suggestion was for him to kneel. And that's why Colin Kaepernick started kneeling. A fundamental fact in this story that you will never hear from conservatives. Nate Boyer said, you kneel just like we kneel for our fallen brothers. Why won't Ben Shapiro mention that? Joe Rogan probably doesn't know any better. That's why he doesn't know that. Why? Why won't Ben Shapiro mention that? Why won't any of the conservatives ever mention that? It's because they're fucking liars, dude. That's why.
The way that he intended it when it first started that way. I mean, if you want to interpret it that way, you can.
How do you know what his intention was?
Because he literally talked about it. I mean, he said that America
wanted to highlight that.
Right, he said
Wait,
America
Joe might
is a
mention it. I don't know,
systemically
but...
racist country. He wore socks with pictures of cops as pigs on them.
Did he?
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Colin
Who cares? Who fucking cares? Who cares? You little baby back bitch. It's a freedom of expression. I thought you were Mr. Free Speech. Turn around and ask that to him. Damn. He wears socks. He wears socks with pigs on them. Oh, God.
I mean, it isn't the way that it was originally expressed. It sort of morphed over time to the point where it doesn't necessarily mean what he originally meant it to mean.
It's not like he's going, fuck you, while everybody else has their hand over their heart in silence. But he's taking a knee.
He did mean it as an FU. I mean, there's no question that's what he meant it as. And it wasn't even over something that actually made sense. Like, you understand during the civil rights movement, when people are raising the black power fist at the Olympics to say, like, we're fighting for civil rights, Jim Crow is still in operation around the country.
Right.
Colin Kaepernick taking the knee to symbolize that America's police are systemically brutal and racist is just, it's factually untrue. And to
oh my God, he is on his back foot. I can't believe Joe Rogan literally Brazilian jiu-jitsu'd Ben Shapiro. Either he thought that this was not going to be a serious debate, this was not going to be contentious, just like I did, but he's literally throwing out like 17 different examples now because he just got fucking triggered. And he's falling apart. This is incredible. First of all, the Black Panther Party? Really? Are you going to honestly make an argument here that the Black Panther Party was pro-American imperialism? Maybe there's enough retconning and enough whitewashing of MLK's legacy that you can stick something like that. But like with the Black Panther Party, they have historically been regarded as villains. And then he's like, oh, well, systemic racism doesn't exist. Okay, good one, dude. Well, that's a really good argument. Thank you, Ben.
What do you think about there's certain guys that like lock arms? during the American flag?
I didn't have a problem with that.
Okay. Locking arms is okay, but kneeling's bad?
Well, no. Well, the way that he characterized his kneeling was bad.
Okay.
Meaning,
him. But what about other people that kneel?
if they characterize it differently, it means a different thing.
Okay.
Right? I mean,
I see what you're saying.
Meaning, like,
Oh my God, his face is like, okay.
What
Okay,
about other
Ben.
people that kneel?
Okay, Ben, let's move on.
if they characterize it differently, it means a different thing.
Look at his face.
Right? I mean,
I see what you're saying.
I had the part of when this actually started in 2016. He started by sitting, and people started getting video of him sitting as the preseason was starting. So he then
Oh,
talked
he's
to a
coming.
teammate.
Jamie!
They discussed kneeling
Pull
was the
that
best
shit
thing
up,
for him to do.
university.
And I've been very blessed to be in this position and be able to make the kind of money I do. And I have to help these people. I have to help these communities. It's not right that they're not put in the position to succeed or given those opportunities to succeed. And as far as taking a knee tonight, Eric, as well as myself, had a long conversation with Nate Boyer, who is a military vet, and we were talking to him about how can we get the message back on track and not take away from the military, not take away from pride in our country.
Pull that
but
shit up, young Jamie.
keep the focus on
Pull
what
it.
the issues really are.
Pull
And
that
as
shit
we
up.
talked about it, we came up with taking the knee because there are issues that still need to
Sweating.
be addressed, and it was also a way to try to show more respect to the men and women that fight for this country.
okay, so that's better, obviously. Can you
But that's him.
scroll down for a second, because I think
But
that
that's
there-
his. That's 2016.
So
That's
here's
the
look at
first
this one.
reaction.
Okay, look at the one right below that. Okay, this is the one I'm talking
Okay,
about.
I'm not going to stand up to show pride in a flag for a country that oppresses black people and people of color. To
That's
me,
the sentence right there.
So that's a different.
The video
a
we just
different
watched
tenor.
was 4 or 5 days after these statements were made. So he said he changed after talking to someone. He made changes to what was going
okay.
on.
Right. So the initial explanation is the one that I was talking about.
Okay, so
Oh,
he revised.
wait, how many years ago was the initial explanation, you fucking racist bitch? Oh, that was 4 years ago? Why are you working with 4 years plus 5 days instead of 4 years ago where he changed his way of advocacy? I wonder why he's still going with 4 years plus 4.
his feelings on it.
And then
Well, that
not
seems
to mind, he
super
kinda,
reasonable.
So it started with this.
Kaepernick had guns drawn on him by cops for being one of the only black guys in his town. Yeah, that seems super reasonable. What he said there about having
The second
respect
take after
for
talking
law
to the military,
enforcement,
yeah, that's
or
better.
Military rather.
Pull that shit up, university. Why didn't you do your fucking job, Ben? Aren't you a fucking political commentator? It's not like this information wasn't readily available to you, Ben. It's been 4 years, Ben. You're still talking about Colin Kaepernick, Ben. There is no way that these conservative cucks are unfamiliar with this story. They have purposefully avoided it, okay? That's it. Because they only give a fuck about making a fucking point. They only give a fuck about winning the argument, not the larger issue at hand. God damn, my pee-pee hard right now. Watching fucking literally the stoned ape and his henchman Jamie, young fucking Jamie, destroying Ben Shabibo in the marketplace of ideas. What a fucking glorious day this is. Let's see the comments real quick. The irony is saying someone isn't qualified when they're supposed to not qualify either. If Ben Shapiro were really against disrespecting the flag as he claims he was doing, then he should be against the flag being spread flat across the entire football field. That's literally in the U.S. flag code. Why does Ben hate Cap? Thank you, Joe, for being level-headed. Oh, blah, 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 blah. This is so good. It took fucking years to get here, dude. Every dipshit on the internet weaponizes Ben Shapiro talking points. And now, finally, the fucking tide is changing. 4 years too late, maybe even longer than that, but still. I've been losing my mind advocating for this shit for fucking years, and everyone's like, ha, you're fucking wrong. Ben Shapiro said this. There you go. Where is your God now? Getting owned by literally the king of apes. Oh, all right, let's move on. Ben Shapiro on the left's targeting historic statues. I doubt that any of these other videos are going to be Joe owning Ben again. But my fucking God.
You saw this
That
Trader
was
Joe's
good.
story,
You
right?
were telling me earlier.
This is wild. So Trader Joe's is called Trader Joe's, right? Which is not racist, I guess. But apparently they have Mexican products that they were calling Trader Jose's. And some board person in their basement decided to create a petition that got signed by some 2,400 other board people about why it shouldn't be called Trader Jose's because that's racist. So apparently it's cultural appropriation if you're Trader Joe's and you make a burrito. But if you call it Trader Jose's, then that's, I think they called it exoticizing Mexican.
Who cares? Absolutely, who cares? Are there people actually upset about this? Ben Shapiro's doing that same thing, highlighting some random dumb shit that like was probably pushed by white people exclusively for some other white people. And now they're having this conversation. And now this is at the forefront of the systemic problems. I can't wait for this to go to people. I can't wait for this to fucking move on to the Ben Shapiro on the left's targeting of historic statues. Let's watch.
It's making them exotic. I read a column this morning by somebody, I think it was in the Washington Post, saying that we should just keep changing the name of everything. Like literally forever. We should just keep changing the name of everything. She said, you know, there's this town, and I think I found a non-offensive name for the town, but if I found something else that was offensive, like 3 years from now, we should change the name of the town. And it's not okay, so we are living in 1984, right? Orwell talked about renaming everything. Because
people will find a way.
1984, written by a fucking democratic socialist like George Orwell, was actually indicative of what is happening right now, but in the exact opposite way that Ben Shapiro and others believe it's happening. 1984 is the Harry Potter of conservatives on the internet, okay? Read a different book. As a matter of fact, read that book first, because you don't even understand what the fuck was going on in that book. You didn't get the message there. First read that book, and then read some other books. We have actual fascist paramilitary in unmarked vans ripping fucking people off the streets and detaining them unconstitutionally, which Ben Shapiro has defended on Twitter, like literally yesterday. And then this cocksucker thinks he can make an argument about 1984. Are you fucking kidding me, dude? Why the fuck do these psychopaths think 1984 is about like blue-haired SJW college freshmen, dude? Oh my God.
If you have to go this far to find things to be offended over, there's not that much to be offended over. If you have to go so far that you have to be offended by Trader Jose's, you got nothing going on in your life. There's a dramatic demand for being offended and acting like a victim. And there just ain't, like, there are actual victims in this country.
Yes.
And internationally, they're seriously actual victims.
Yes.
But we don't focus on any of those folks, right?
No.
We focus instead.
Yeah, the actual victims in this country, like conservatives. Concentration camps at the border are not real concentration camps, by the way. Yeah, there are actual victims in this fucking country. And Ben Shapiro is right. We don't focus on them. Largely because people like Ben Shapiro keep fucking redirecting the conversation to other shit that is completely nonsensical, like Trader Joe's renaming Trader Jose's as a fucking brand.
Like the dumbest bullcrap you ever heard. You know, about renaming libraries. And listen, I'm fine with you want to take a Confederate statue and put it in a museum. Fine. I mean, those guys were jerks. They're terrible people. Fine, go for it. But like you're talking about, we're going to fix the world by renaming Washington, D.C. because Washington was bad. It's like, what did you do lately? Did you do what Washington did? Like, I understand we don't put up statues to people for all the bad crap.
No, thank God that fucking no one right now, at least to my knowledge, is doing what Washington did, which is, you know, have slaves. So that was pretty bad. Not only did George Washington have slaves, but he knew it was bad. And not only did he know it was bad, other people around him knew it was bad, and he still did it. The perfect example of this is the reality that there was already a fucking loophole built in. I mean, not a loophole, but a law built in to Pennsylvania law where George Washington avoided by shifting his slaves over and moving them across state lines so that he didn't have to free them. The law was that every 6 months you had to free your slaves. And George Washington was like, yeah, fuck that. I'm not going to do that. These slaves are very good. I'm going to keep them.
Martin Luther King had a real bad record with the ladies. Okay, we don't put up statues to Martin Luther King because we were saying he was great with women.
I think everybody was bad with women.
Again, MLK did not own slaves or rape slaves. Having a bad record with the ladies is a psychotic reason to take down someone's statue.
Back then.
Everyone is bad, period. Human beings suck. Okay, so either get rid of all the statues or recognize that human beings suck.
Worse, obviously.
For sure. And there are gradations of suck. But
do you remember back when they were tearing down those Civil War statues and Trump, in all of his wisdom, was like, what are they going to do next? What about Lincoln? What about they're going to take down George Washington? And everybody's like, oh, he's so crazy. Meanwhile, that's exactly what they were doing.
See?
That was what they were doing. I mean, in Chicago, well, that was actually Christopher Columbus, who was legitimately a bad guy.
He was, I mean, yes. Yeah. Also, everyone was bad. Like, literally all the people.
No, not to this degree. You can't say everyone was literally cutting off the hands of indigenous populations and engaging in mass rape. Then everyone is bad. Then, you know, Hitler's bad, but everyone was bad. Well, Churchill did genocide too. Are they the same? fucking crazy.
Recognize that when there's a statue of Christopher Columbus, we are not honoring how he treated the Arawaks. No one ever thought that we put up a statue to Christopher Columbus because he was really sweet to the natives on the other end of that. Right? That nobody's.
So what is the purpose of a statue? Like when you have a Christopher Columbus statue, like what is the purpose of that statue?
This is actually a good question to ask. And the answer is literally to whitewash his history. All matter of hagiography to some degree engage in this because you are celebrating a person when you make a fucking glorified statue of them.
But there is this idea that has settled in that and it's really of high irritation to me that we are now the only good people who have ever lived. Everyone who came before us was just a horrible person, and we are the only good humans who have ever, like, isn't the world lucky to have us? We're the only people who have ever lived who are completely sinless, and we can look from our perch at the top of morality at everyone who came before us and say that those people were all garbage compared to us. Now, there were people who were garbage compared to us, but
I like this argument because, like, the same people that are making that argument about statues are literally making the argument that we're still garbage and we should make everything better. This is a fucking idiotic argument. Just because we are still currently bad does not mean that we should whitewash really horrific things that others have done before us. It's a bad argument, but it's a successful one, and it's a deliberate one. Why is it a deliberate one? Because if you deny systemic racism as a part of your job, then you can also justify slavery that preceded it. The actions of our founding fathers and the legacy of systemic racism stems from slavery. So that is just a longer way to beef up your argument that systemic racism does not exist. That's it.
To overcome all of that.
Wait, what's that I hear?
Time and time again. He's a great example.
What's that I hear?
Of how the system really is beautifully engineered from 300 fucking years ago.
Because the founders did understand the problem of human nature, which is people want power and they want to hurt other people very often. And you still need government in order to do things.